beautiful day today. Beth Harmon, I'm the Executive Director of the Dairy and Land Trust. I'm here today with our expert, Tom Barry. Hi Tom, it's so great to be here with you today. And I'm so glad that we get to ask you this question that we all assume everyone knows the answer to, but what is a native plant? And why is it so important that we all be planting them in our yards?
Yeah, it's a great question and something that I've really been interested in over the past few years. I've been inspired by Douglas Tallamy's book, Bringing Nature Home, where we kind of learned of the importance of the ecology of using native plants. But you know, the first question that you asked is really important one, to understand what a native plant actually is. And I think that there's been a little bit of controversy or debate about what a native plant is, but some of the underlying agreement is that number one, it's evolved in our geographical location and has not been introduced by humans. And so because it has evolved here over hundreds and thousands of years, these plants have been adapted to our environmental conditions. So that includes the temperature, the amount of rainfall that we get, probably even more importantly, the types of soils, you know, how much sand, silt, and clay, organic matter content in our soils, the acidity level, and because they've adapted so well or over time to those conditions, you typically do better when you plant them in your landscape. You don't have to add as many inputs in terms of fertilizing and adding irrigation. They require less inputs. So that's obviously a benefit. The other big, from an ecological standpoint, is that since they've been around for so long, they've developed these evolutionary relationships with other organisms like insects. And so these relationships have allowed those organisms to kind of unlock the key. These plants create these secondary compounds which prevent organisms from feeding on them. It's a way to protect themselves. And so through years of having these relationships with insects and other organisms, these organisms have developed the ability to unlock that key and kind of get through those secondary compounds and be able to feed on them. And that's actually very important because it creates this kind of food chain where insects can feed on the plants, birds can then go feed on the insects. And so when you're talking about non-native plants, they don't have that same evolutionary relationship. And so the insects, the other organisms, try to feed on them and they die because they can't break that key, they can't unlock that key, they can't get through those secondary compounds. And so that's when you start talking about invasive plants, because now they can grow and have no organisms that keep their populations in check. So native plants, not only do they do better in our environment or local conditions, they also create this ecology and support a huge food chain. Hi there, my name is Tom Barry. I am the grounds manager at Greens Farms Academy, where I oversee the maintenance of 45 acres of grounds. This includes the athletic fields, landscape beds, meadows, garden areas, and all the hardscaped areas. And we do this without the use of pesticides, which is now a law in the state of Connecticut on school grounds K through 8. My background is I have a bachelor's and a master's degree from plant science from the University of Connecticut. I'm an adjunct instructor at Naugatuck Valley Community College in Waterbury, Connecticut, and I teach part-time for NOFA's Organic Land Care program on their organic lawn care classes.